Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Dangerously Obese. This is season 2, episode 7, A Heavy Secret. Do me a favor and hype up the video, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Also, leave a comment. I don't know what it is, and I think some of you may have put a finger on it, but there is something very off about some of these episodes. And part of me feels like part of the problem is that the episodes feel a little rushed. I'm finding it hard to connect with the individuals that we're being introduced to because we're not being given the normal information or the backstory that we would normally get because of how quickly they're going through things. Like today's person, Crystal, I don't even know how old Crystal is because I don't recall them saying it. And if they did, feel free to put it down below. But I just feel like they're rushing through these diaries so quickly, and that some of it feels a little gimmicky to me because everybody has problems on certain days eating and then they're so successful afterwards. Like, is it a setup or are these actual struggles? You guys tell me what you think down below. So we begin today's episode talking about Crystal Johnson, right? Crystal is the life of the party. She has a big personality that people naturally gravitate towards. She is the person that people get joy from. Yeah. We find out very early on that Crystal is living a double life because we see her out at a bar hanging out with a bunch of women talking about how much she loves the ladies and how her celebrity cut crush is Queen Latifah and she is gay. Now, she is gay, but her family doesn't know. The only people who know are the people who she meets while she's in these gay bars. So she lets us know that she is the type of person who has been with more females than both of her brothers combined. And when she said it, I was like, okay, Crystal, that's not sexy. Like, you're trying to act like your esteem is all the way up there, but clearly it's not if you've gotten to this point. So she says that she's gay and her family doesn't know, which means that she is hiding a big part of herself. And that is the only thing that I found myself feeling a little sorry for when it came to her, because the rest of it, I don't know. I'm not connecting with these people like I normally do when I watch these shows. I'm rooting for them, but something about it feels differently to me. Anyways, so we find out that Crystal was married. She was married in her 20s for 9 whole months to a man, but she only did it to make everyone happy. It's not something that she truly desired to do. She even talked about how she only kissed him like a couple of times, meaning that there was nothing more to it. She said that it didn't last long because she wasn't attracted to him. So then we hear a little bit of her story from childhood, which is that most of her weight gain started around the age of 6. At 6, because that's she refers to kindergarten, so I'm going to assume she was, in kindergarten at 6. She says she knew in kindergarten that she was over 100 pounds, and just the significance of that, I think about little kindergartners now. My man's daughter is in kindergarten and she's a tiny little thing. Like, I cannot imagine her weighing in at 100 pounds. So when I heard her say 100 pounds, I was like, over 100 pounds at 6? Wild to me. But she said that for her it wasn't that big of a thing because her family shows love through food. Like, the more you love someone, it's the more food that you get. So, as she's telling us this story, we witness her do the typical, I'm going to go order some food. And boy, did she enjoy herself ordering this food. because she orders 3 cheeseburgers with mayo only, 2 fish sandwiches, and 5 large fries. She also asks for a lemonade with grape in it. She wastes no time to dig into this food. Like, she pulls over and she goes to town. She eats all of the food before she gets home, and she returns with like one bag for her mom. But I'm confused if it was the same day or not. It seemed like it was, but she had an additional bag with her, and then she proceeded to go in her room and eat some more. So I don't know if they kind of filmed this out of sequence. So she returns to her mama, and when I saw her mother, I was like, okay, the mama needs surgery too. Is this going to be one of those situations where we get to see her mom have surgery? Because mama's a big girl too. But it wasn't. This was all about Crystal. So her mom is talking on the couch. And for those of you who noticed the bug that was crawling in the background, yes, I did see the bug crawling behind her. I don't know what kind of bug it is. I didn't zoom in. I just took note of the bug. Her mom talks about how Crystal stays to herself, or she hangs around her mom. She doesn't really go, to a whole bunch of places. But I'm listening to her mom, and it's clear that her mother doesn't know who her daughter is. Because her mom is talking about how she wants her to have children and all these other things. And I wonder if Crystal even planned on having kids. But if you don't have certain discussions, you would not know. So that's her mama on the screen. We then see Crystal, her mother, and one of her brothers go to meet up to go fishing, right? This was a 3-hour drive for her brother and a 2-hour drive for Crystal and her mother. As we witness Crystal walking to this boat, Crystal is out of breath just getting out of the car. I mean, she gets out of breath to arrange her body to get out from behind the steering wheel. She then struggles to walk to the boat. Then she struggles to get on the boat. She can't step up. She thought she could maybe get on her knees and go like that. She thought maybe she could sit down and get in the boat. She couldn't get in the boat. She says that her arthritis in her knee is bothering her. Her joints hurt and her lungs feel like they're about to explode. It does not take very long to realize that she cannot step up on this platform for this boat, which means that they can't go fishing. I really don't I don't know why I didn't buy this scene, but there was something about it that I didn't buy because Crystal's mama isn't small either. And I would think, given their sizes, that they would have looked into all of this before getting there. Like, did Crystal really not know that she was not going to get on the boat? Because before she even got on the thing or attempted to, I already was like, she's not going anywhere because I don't think she's going to be able to get up there. So they do not go fishing, and she feels bad that they all drive there not to have it happen. So we see them home later on as they're getting ready to fry a whole bunch of fish and shrimp. And she talks to her mom about how, something's got to give. She's ready to have a weight loss surgery. So she tells her mom that she's scared, but she feels like this is her only option to lose the weight and keep it off. And her mom says, she's agreeing, she's going to be there for her, blase, blase. So next we see Crystal and her mother as they head from Louisiana to Atlanta to see Dr. Proctor. They get there that night, arrive to what looks like, a little Airbnb situation or a little motel thing, and then they go the next day to see him. So it's the next day. She's nervous, as all patients are, to meet Dr. Proctor. She tells him that she did prior diets, but she always ends up losing the weight and gaining it back. She says she grew up eating a lot, and her grandmother, always felt like she wasn't getting enough food. Like, her mother would feed her, she would go over to her grandma's house, and her grandmother would be like, "Oh, your mom didn't feed you enough, so I'm going to give you more." That's concerning to me. And based on what we saw with her family, a lot of them are overweight. And I wish her mother would have kind of did this with her, because how awesome would that have been, especially since they both still reside in the same house. So she says to this day, if she's not full, she feels like she hasn't ate enough. And Dr. Proctor let her know, like, look, you're going to have this surgery and that feeling is not going to go away. Just because you're sitting here and you are getting this done doesn't take away that feeling. So we're going to have to really know what that's about before we attempt to even do the surgery. So the next thing that has to happen in all of these things is we have to see her as she gets on the scale to find out how much she weighs. Now she's hoping to be in the 400s. I already knew the girl wasn't going to be in the 400s. She steps on the scale, and this is her face as she sees that she weighs 532.6 pounds. As I said, she was hoping to be in the 400s. So she is shocked and she is disappointed. Everybody is shocked and disappointed when they get on the scale. I know I am. I hate it because the truth comes out when you get on that thing. You gonna if you thought you did something, the scale will let you know, especially if you have one of those scales that measure like your BMI and stuff like that. Anyways, so he tells her that her chances of dying at her weight with someone who is the same age as her is 5 times higher than that other person. I wish I knew what her age was. So he tells her that what he's going to do is he's going to do like what he always does and set her up with a dietitian and health coaches that are going to teach her how to cook and what foods to prepare. And it's also going to be very important for her to meet with a bariatric psychologist, because there's that component too. Like your mind has to be locked in as well. So he said he wants her to learn what's driving her to eat the way that she is. So her goal of weight to lose is 32 pounds in 1 month. I always wonder where they get these numbers from, because she's a big girl and all she has to lose is 32 pounds when we normally hear him say 40 or 50. So I'm like, okay, 32, that's nothing. So she leaves there and she's telling us that she's going to make better options, right? So she's going to be cutting out the bread and she's going to be eating more veggies, even though she doesn't like veggies. So we get the shot of the cart, the shot to show us all these veggies. Y'all ever notice that a lot of them, when they get these veggies, they're always like frozen veggies? I would think that it would be better for you to get fresh ones, but I guess this is better than nothing. Like, don't they put a lot of sodium in that type of stuff to preserve it? Anyways, so she gets a whole bunch of veggies. Y'all, I saw them peas and carrots and I was like, bleh. I do not like, this has nothing to do with the episode, but this episode really didn't give a lot. So I could talk about my personal life. I do not like peas and carrots mixed together. I eat carrots. I prefer them to be raw if I'm going to eat them than for them to be cooked. But if I eat them cooked, I don't want them mixed with anything. Just give me the carrots. Don't give it to me with no peas. I do not like peas. When I was a little girl, my grandmother used to make me sit at the table and eat the peas. And when I tell you, I would like ball them up, spit them in the paper, try to hide it in the glass part of the table. Me and those peas, I eat to this day. I will not eat them if they're in fried rice and I can't taste it too much. I may eat a little bit, but the moment that I could taste the pea taste while I'm eating it, you're gonna see me picking out peas. Not a fan of peas. Tell me down below. Do you like peas? I'll know if you were really listening if you tell me. So I'm looking at all these veggies, and then she tells us that she's doing better with that, but she's still drinking sodas. For her, sodas are going to take a lot more to give up. And we see what looks like maybe a Coke on the counter. And I'm like, okay, here we go. This girl's not going to do what she's supposed to do, because why are you telling us that you're not giving up sodas? So it's day 8, and we see her go to attend this aerial workout. She went and looked it up online, and she thought that this would be so much better than doing their traditional, I'm going to walk type of exercise. Why do people do this? I feel like they tell them to do one of the most out there things and see how it goes. Now, I get certain exercises. I understand, like me personally, I will pick a dance, like an aerobics class, a step class, a Zumba class. Before the pandemic, Zumba and mixed fit, that's like boxing and stuff, were my faves. Like I love those classes at the Y. Since the pandemic, I can tell in my face, I can tell in my body, I have not been going to those classes. I actually let go of the Y, and now I'm at Planet Fitness, but Planet Fitness doesn't offer any of those classes. Yeah. Anyways, with that being said, do what makes you enjoy yourself. But this made no sense to me because she's walking in there weighing in at over 500 pounds, and she thought that she was going to be able to enjoy this exercise. So she's like, I don't know if these satin sheets are going to be able to hold me up. I don't know if this is going to work. Yada yada go. I would think that you would have looked into all of that before coming here, but they need this scene of you embarrassing yourself. So here she is. So we're told that these ropes can hold up to 2,000 pounds of force. So not just dead weight, but force. We see the instructor make a knot for her. The instructor tells us that they have people of all shapes and sizes. She's never worked with someone that's the size of Crystal, but she feels like this is a great step to show people that various sizes can do it. This instructor was being real positive, right? Very positive. So she makes her a knot and she's like, stand in this knot. And she stands and she pulls herself up and she stands in the knot and she tells her to do it. Now, mind you, the knot is probably like maybe 5 or 6 inches off of the ground. And she tells her to step into it. And she puts one foot into it, but she cannot pull herself up to stand in there. And she says, I can't do it. So she's like, okay, you can't do that, but you can sit in it. So she adjusts the knot up some so she can sit in it. And she sits down in it. And she's like, okay, good. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to lift your feet. She's saying this as she's standing there to support her. And Crystal looks at her and she says, no. She does not even try. And that is all we get of that. This is what I'm talking about how y'all not really like, I'm not connecting because we aren't going deep into it. We didn't get to see her really upset about it. She just said no, and then it was end scene. Why come to a place like this if you weren't really going to try? To me, what would have made the most sense for her to attempt to do for us to see is a water workout, because we know that you're lighter and you're more buoyant in water, preferably a pool that she could just walk into, right? That way she doesn't have to worry about struggling with the steps and things of that nature. So we go from that and we jump to this next thing that got on my nerves because they really kept zooming in on this thing. 17 days in, day 17, and Crystal is messing up yet again because she done drove her happy tail right back to McDonald's. They're trying to blur out the McDonald's, but we know what a McDonald's large fry and a quarter pounder with a Coke looks like. That's what we're seeing on the screen. She is showing us this. And here's the thing, I'm looking at the fries in the bag, and I said, I know that she ordered more than one fry because y'all know as well as I know that McDonald's does not give you that many fries. I said, oh, that's two because they don't give okay. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Now she claims that she feels bad. But how bad do you really feel if you keep giving us all these shots of this burger and these fries? So it's day 20, and we find out that she did talk to the psychiatrist, but we don't get to see any of that. With her telling us the significance of her weight gain and how she's keeping certain things a secret, I would have loved to be able to see at least her session. Like, we didn't have to see her tell everybody that, come out to everybody, because that's already a vulnerable position, and she didn't know how her family would react to that. But can we see a little bit of the therapy anyways? So in that session, one of the things that came up was part of the reason why she's carrying all this weight is because of the secret that she's carrying. So I guess one of the goals was for her to start telling people about her truth. So she meets with what we're told is one of her work friends at a hibachi spot, but they're going to be having sushi. And she is nervous about it, but she finally comes out and says that she's gay. And she tells her, and her friend has absolutely no negative reaction whatsoever. She actually responds like she just told her that the sky was blue, because it doesn't matter to her. She says, I don't care, what you got going on. I just want you to be happy. She's like, I hope that this surgery will give you the courage, because she asked her if she's told her family, and she's like, no. And she's like, I hope this surgery, I think her name was Rebecca, will give you the courage to tell your family. She's like, either way, whatever you do, I'm gonna be here to root for you. And I think that's really, really dope. I don't know what it feels like to carry that type of secret. I've witnessed one of my friends carry that secret for years, and he didn't tell us that he liked men until after we had all graduated from college. And when he said it, a part of me wasn't overly surprised, not because he, made any comments or did anything or anything like that. It's just because I could tell, even in seeing him date women, that he wasn't really happy. So having him let us know, like, the reason why I wasn't happy is because I tried really, really hard all these years to be attracted to women. And even though I think you guys are beautiful, it's not something that I want. And seeing the relief in that for him, I could see how important it is that she told her friend, and her friend accepted her as she is. I think that's dope. So we go to day 26, and we find out that she is eating better. On day 28, we find out that she met this lady by the name of Nicole on a dating app. Now, this timeline sounds crazy to me, because even though they just met on this dating app, they seem very comfortable with one another. And I'm not saying that it can't happen. It's just another thing that we didn't get a lot of. So Nicole and her go on a date to the park, and she's talking about how Nicole is her pusher and her drill sergeant. And once again, all we got of that was this little clip. So Nicole has her climbing the stairs as she's watching, and she's trying to make sure that she works out so she can be good for this goal. So we then see it's day 30, and Nicole and her done made it to the office. This is what I'm saying. These two got really, really close really, really quickly for her to be coming all the way to Atlanta for you to meet with a doctor, when that's a hike, right? So her and Nicole are at the office. Now she's telling Dr. Proctor, Crystal is, that she doesn't know if she made her goal. She might have actually gained weight. And I immediately got irritated. Dr. Proctor put his head down, but I got irritated, and I was like, let me find out that I'm going to have to cuss this girl out when I haven't had to cuss. Now, y'all know I'm not going to really cuss her out, but I had to fuss this girl out when I haven't had to fuss any of these people out. The girl gets on the scale, y'all, and she weighs 463.6 pounds. So she lost 60 pounds. I said, oh, you tried to play us. And she's excited, and he's excited. He ends up giving her a high five. He tells her, this is a giant step towards the rest of your life. Your surgery will be in 2 weeks. So she begins to cry. She's so happy. We then jump to surgery day. Now, Crystal's mom is with her. She's nervous. The mama's nervous. She's thinking about whether or not she's going to have problems breathing. Dr. Proctor tells us that with a person this size, there's certain things that you have to keep on, like anesthesia is made more complicated, and her breathing is made more complicated. So he's going to very much so keep an eye on these things to make sure that she has that proper airway. So we see Dr. Proctor, he's going to go like he's driving a car as he plays all you see is his little fingers going as the robot cuts through. I think that is so cool. It is so so cool watching him work. Y'all know I like stuff like that, right? For the purposes of my fam, I'm not putting the images on the screen, but I love seeing him cut through and stitch and staple. I think it's so technology is so crazy. And the fact that this procedure helps people with their healing time and has less complications, I think that that's awesome. So he gets to work with his robot, he does his thing, she's all done. 3 hours later, we see Crystal, and she's talking about how much she hurts and how she's nauseous and how she's in so much pain. And part of her is wishing that she didn't do this surgery. And I said, oh, girl, you about to make me mad all over again. Like, you knew that this was going to happen. She hopes in the end it's all worth it. We then get a sign that says 13 months later. Some of her family is meeting up at the lake. We find out that Crystal did tell the family that she's gay and they are accepting her as she is. Her mom says what matters most is that her daughter is happy and she sees her happy right now. And I feel like that is what it's about. Whether you agree with it or not, we're not going to get into that debate here. Lead in love. And I feel like for people who struggle with this, they don't need the judgment, they just need the love. So she is not stressed um anymore over her child like she was before because she sees the changes in Crystal. So we find out that Nicole won't be there because Nicole has pneumonia, but she is still with Nicole. So then we see Crystal. Let me put this on the screen. Crystal has lost 265 pounds. She was previously 532 pounds. And her current weight is a whopping or shocking 267 pounds. We then hear about how things are so different for her now. She's able to climb steps and she's able to do things that she hasn't been able to do before. And then we see her back at that boat that she tried to get on before. And this time she's able to get up there with ease. Like she didn't even need any assistance. And that's one of her brothers clapping for her as she gets in the boat. We then find out, oh no, what'd I do? Okay. We then find out, y'all, you know me and technology, that sorry about how crooked this was, but I was about to retake the picture. We then find out that 10 months later, she lost another 35 pounds, making her total weight loss 300 pounds and counting. That's dope. Happy for Crystal. Great for Crystal. I'm very surprised. Um, as I said before, I like the show. I do. I just want them to slow it down a little bit because I want to connect with these people. But I think that it is very awesome. She's done very amazing. And it's great to just see how everybody is locking in and getting the job done. You guys, let me know what you thought about Crystal's story. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, peace.